Welcome to Auto Mall Aspley Oval for the first time in 2025. This is round 3 of the Bond University QAFLW. The Aspley Hornets, surprisingly winless so far in 2025, up against the unbeaten and record-breaking Southport Sharks. And this is, of course, Anzac round. Thank you to Emily Keane, who is formerly Wilson Grange, but now a reserve grader here at the Aspley Hornets, for conducting the ceremony. My name is Daniel Viles. Great pleasure to be with you. Alongside me today, we decided we need a bit of credibility in the commentary box, so I've got a former QAFLW Premiership winner, a former leading goal kicker, current Queensland women's coach, and she's also commentated on the ABC board that I have. Jamie Stearns, and welcome back to the QAFLW.
Thanks for having me.
You've obviously familiar with quite a few of these players, partly some of the older ones you would have played against, and also through the Queensland side. What have you made of their progress through the season so far?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. Obviously, like the 2024 grand finalists have taken very different approaches to the way their 2025 campaigns have started, but I would like to think that Aspley are probably going to look to change their fortunes today against the ladder-leading Southport. Southport
had a lot of changes to make in their defence over the off-season with the retirement of Selena Priest and the wonderful return to the AFLW of Kaylee Kimber. Their defence hasn't, because they've played the two sides at the bottom of the table, their defence hasn't really been tested today. When you've been in clubs that have had to rebuild their defence, I get the impression that's something that takes a while because, defence, you've really got to work as a unit, and that takes a bit of time to set up.
Yeah, definitely. I think you talk about Kaylee and Selena leaving. Sel is a massive hole, and she's been somebody that's been very substantial in their defensive line, but she's also a teacher and an educator, so she would have been preparing Southport for this transition over many, many years through the process of the junior pathway and through their 17s and Resi systems, but also too in terms of the slightly younger adults that are in the system. That Sel is someone that does not shut up in a really positive way. So there's not a surprise that Southport's defence hasn't been tested, but that's also by design of who they've played as well.
Obviously, I don't have the same experience of Sel as you do, but there have been times when I've not been commentating and I've watched the game from the boundary, and I can back up everything you've just said. She's basically conducting a masterclass while on the field, Selena Priest.
100%. She's definitely like an orchestrator in a choir or a band. She's that person at the front that's directing and pointing, and she's fantastic at it.
She'd probably have to talk less if she was an actual conductor of a choir, I suspect. So, moving to Aspley, and they've lost personnel in a different part of the field. For them, it's the midfield, where Jess Davey, who I thought was fantastic last year, and I think she was in your Queensland side last year, which beat Tasmania. More on that later on. She's gone back to Moreton Bay, and also a horrible ACL injury to Louise Tyson. You take those two out of the midfield, it's going to look a bit different. So they've moved a few people in. Constructing a midfield, do you have an idea of what a perfect midfield looks like and sort of what you can do to engineer that, Nassar?
Well, it's quite interesting you asked what the perfect midfield looks like. It's because, Jess and Lou are polar opposites of each other. Jess is in and under and contested beast, and it's what you need to start your midfield on to be able to win stoppages or at least compete, and then lose the explosive outside power that you want going inside forward 50. So Aspley didn't just lose two of the same player type and still had a strength somewhere. They've actually lost polar opposites of each other, which would have a significant impact on how they would be playing throughout that part of the ground.
Be interested to see what you see with Aspley today, because what they've recruited really well over the off-season was height, almost by accident. In fact, Emily Keane, who just conducted the Anzac ceremony, she's been pushed to reserve grade, although she's a specialist ruck, and former Heptas Aspley, whole other story. But number 1, Emma McDonald, was the South Queensland ruck for the last 2 years, so she'll start in the ruck. Jasmine Kawa pinch hits in the ruck. Lucia Liesi's been pushed back to halfback, and Pepper Poltney, who was the Yeronga ruck last year, she's been pushed back to centre halfback. So they've got plenty of options there. Are there ways of playing? You've had to deal with rucks like Jack DePay and whatnot over the last couple of years. Are there ways that you like, if you happen to have a team with a lot of talls, are there ways that you like to organise them, which maybe are a little bit different from just sticking them all up the middle?
Potentially. It's an interesting game. Female footy generally is played on the ground, and not such a strength of the talls is bending over and picking up the ground ball. But if you do have quite a tall team, you have to use their assets, which is kicking the ball in the air and creating those long down the line concepts, or being able to switch the ball and maintain possession, which fits into the way that they want to play because they're great marks. But unfortunately, with the weather that we've had over the past couple of rounds, it hasn't actually been conducive to Aspley playing anywhere near that type of game style. So it'll be interesting to say with, hopefully at this stage, dry weather, that if they can actually try and get a possession-based game going against Southport that's maybe a little bit more contest and ground ball shaped.
Last year, with going back to Southport now, and the tactics they used to win the premiership, I mean, where things really got going from the middle, I mean, of course, Maddie Watt was probably, in my mind, the outstanding player of 2024, but the go-forward came from the left foot of Kira Zarafa and the right foot of Steph O'Brien, and last year was very forward-based. I do wonder, though, with the change of coach to Matt Lappin, whether he's going to get them moving the ball differently. If you got any inside info, or if you don't, what would you do if you had people, the twin towers in the middle, like Zarafa and O'Brien, who can really put the ball anywhere? It's just a case of what game style you want to play.
Based on my insight of how he played as a player and how his daughter's playing under me in the academy system, they're both fantastic users of the ball. So I would like to think that he would be someone that coaches in that way, shape and form as well. So it'll be interesting. Like you said, Southport last year were very much a go-forward team, and the method or the mode was get it forward, where this year will probably be more of a controlled process and how can they maintain possession against the other team in a still a fast matter moving the ball forward, because they have fantastic weapons in the forward half, but I think there definitely will be a controlled process to the way they want to actually move the ball forward, because the players you talk about in Zarafa, O'Brien and Matty Watt are all fantastic contested beasts as well, so they can win the ball forward and drive out a stoppage quite easily as well.
It's going to be well, last year this game would have been a clash of styles, because Aspley, I was lucky enough to say in the excellent pre-season preview, which is now available on play.afl/Queensland, sorry, just putting myself up, that last year Aspley played the prettiest football last year. They had the most hand, and on this is a relatively thin ground as well. It's quite long, but it's a thin ground, but they do like to move it wide, and they do like to move it by hand. I have a feeling that it's actually not going to be a clash of styles this year, though. I'm getting, again, what you said about Skinny, as Matt Lappin is known, that we will actually be seeing, even on a wet day, this could be a very handball-heavy kind of game.
Yeah, well, I think all footy's moving towards that, isn't it? Whether that's female or men's footy, you watch, an AFL or an AFLW game, and it's all about how you can put speed on the ball, and generally that comes from handball receives. So it wouldn't surprise me if the two teams, two of the top teams in our QAFL comp, which is one step below AFLW, want to start moving with speed on the ball and preparing these players for, whether that's Queensland State footy with me or AFLW. That's the process that most clubs play now.
We've got a bit more time than I thought before the game starts, so I might go forward to July the 5th, which is when this year Queensland plays the away game going to northwestern Tasmania at Latrobe Recreation Ground, a beautiful ground out in the northwest of Tasmania. Women's and men's matches as always, and Jamie's coaching the women. I'm interested in the composition of the side, because there's, to oversimplify, two ways that you can pick a squad for that kind of game. One is that you pick the best players and then come up with a game style. The other is you say, no, this is the game style I want to play, and then you find the players to match that. I'm trying to get your secrets out of you here, but I mean, do you have a particular method where, is it a bit of both, or do you tend to lean more one way or the other for a game like that?
Firstly, I want to win, so that's the first thing, and the players that you pick need to be able to do that, whether that's through the game style that I would ideally like to coach or whatever's in front of me. But the talent dictates the game style. I think if I'm a coach that's sitting there going, well, I've only got smalls in front of me, but I want to play this contested long down the line kicking game, well then it's a poor reflection on me and my coaching ability to not be able to manipulate what I have in front of me. I can only coach with what I've got, just like the players can play with what they've got as well. So it's actually quite interesting you asked that. I have a particular way I would like to play, and I do think the players that are playing in the QAFL at the moment have that capability and capacity. But more importantly, I want to play a game style that means that these guys, if selected or if looked at really positively, could move into an AFLW landscape. So that's really the game style that I would like to play against Tassie.
I will say I have been telling a few players that you, Jamie Stanton, were going to join me in commentary today, and there are a few players who thought, oh, there's an opportunity. So you are currently someone who you're not just observing them, they're observing you. We are underway in round 3, the Anzac round of the Bond University QAFLW, Aspley versus Southport. Kira Zarafa and Jasmine Carver on the outside. Number 24 for Southport is Tyler Crabtree, who's come up from Ballarat this year. Bit of it now. Was that a sling tackle? Or, no, that's holding the ball. Maddie Tallis has the ball at right halfback. This is her second year in this competition. Impressed in her debut year. Out towards Emma McDonald on the far side. Just lands in front of Megan Hunt. Congratulations to her. Back in round one, she kicked her 100th goal in this competition. Only the 9th person to do it. On this side to Vanderweel. Vanderweel wheels around. And that was an almost accidental mark taken by Katie Day. Best and fairest for Collingwood in the VFLW last year after winning a premiership with UQ in 2022. Can be a spectacular player, but right now needs to be reliable with a set shot. Katie Day's got the distance. Day opens the scoring. That is her first goal for her new club. Welcome back to the Bond University QAFLW, Katie Day.
What a fantastic start by Aspley. You look at, they lose the centre clearance, but then it gets pushed out to a really good, fantastic tackle by Maddie Tallis on the wing, and wingers aren't known to do the defensive efforts like that at the contest, but their ability to move the ball then was really nice, and it'll be interesting to see if they can maintain that or if Southport's pressure will increase as the game goes on. Maddie
Tallis, still only 19 years old, and there's not much of her. She's skinnier than Matt Lappin, let's put it that way. But you saw her ferocity there. So McDonald back in the ruck. As I say, South Queensland ruck the last couple of years. Now in the top league. Jessie McMillan in the number 19 shirt for Aspley. Moved down from Maroochydore one day before the season started. Aspley moving the ball forward again. Georgia Smith turned it over. Finally Southport with a disposal. Took them a couple of minutes to get there. Gabby Roberts. Ducked and out of traffic. Nearly beat one tackle. Was able to get a handball away to Vanderweel. Picked off well. Forward, just not able to be tapped on by Baldwin. Getting away from Gregory was Pittman. Pengelly. Not one of her best kicks. She'd love to have a second chance at that one. Running through very well was Olivia Marr, who's come down from Townsville. Vanderweel just bumped off it again by the hard-running Marr. She's got involved early. Came out wide. That was Tyler Crabtree in the 24. Inside 50. Gregory just dropping the mark. It is wet underfoot. The weather's dry overhead. Brilliant tackle by McDonald, and she'll get the free kick at left halfback. No, just a boundary throw-in. I misread that. Apologies. No, I've misread it twice. It's a free kick to Gregory. That's why you're here, Jamie, because you've got the credibility.
I wasn't going to jump in so soon in our relationship.
Correct me. Dropped in the goal square. And that's just to the side by Bindi Crabtree. She has a goal this season for Southport. Minor score there.
It's interesting so far. The play's been all down the centre corridor. There's been barely any action on the wings, and we're at a skinny oval here, so it's very interesting to note that the game styles at the moment are a little bit scrappy.
Can we just put that down to the underfoot conditions, perhaps?
I'd hope not.
Pengelly got way too close to the player in front of her and ended up putting a fair old bruise on her. Makes up for it with a big tackle. Play on. Liesi, back at halfback today, was one of the best centres in the competition last year, and that's out on the full, although we have the lasso rule for the first time in the Bond University QAFLW this year. Dropped by O'Brien just outside the 50. Inside from Zarafa. Zarafa kicks from about 45. The spoil from Pittman wasn't quite effective. Off the ground. That was Maddie Baldwin. She is finding way to score in every situation this year. That is her 9th for the year. This is round 3. Maddie Baldwin on the board.
It's interesting to note she's also got the captain playing on her, so clearly Aspley have taken notice of the fact that she's been in really sort of good goal-kicking conditions. But fantastic to note that AFLQ have now brought in the AFLW rules, which makes absolute sense when these guys are trying to move up and play potentially at the highest level. So why not have alignment of the rules across the board, which allowed Southport to get another forward entry, which ends up in a goal.
And speaking of the transition from QAFLW to AFLW, I'm just about tearing up at the moment because Georgia Brouard has just run onto the field for her first game since the 2023 preliminary final. She's come back from an ACL in the number 47 shirt. One of the best inside midfielders in this competition's history. I've just called it. I know it's a big call, but I'm a large man. Southport. Back to Brouard. Just got a bit of a push, but she's able to get her first disposal. Cut off by Liesi. Went back to Day on the ground. Goes up the centre half forward where Georgia Smith gets a run on. Smith comes out to the left-hand side. Just in the pocket, cleaned up by Baltays. Hunt, who I think has been moved back to defence to just give a bit of experience, and comes out to Lee Alder at right half-back. Alder got close to the player on the mark, but she's followed up her own kick well. Aspley have numbers at the contest. Plumpton in the number 7. This is her first year in this comp. Ball up.
I think at the moment the girls just need to take a little bit more care with their possessions. They're just rushing everything a little bit, which is just allowing a few little errors to be popped in.
No real advantage from the ensuing ball up. That may have been out on the full, or it may have been outside the 50 anyway. Either way, someone's going to get a free kick. No, they're not. So I'm having a shocker, Jamie. This is Joe.
Early in the season, it's okay.
And there's a glass window in the way. That's my excuse, and it's the last one I make today. So Aspley at left half forward on the attack. McDonald got the hands to it, but it was well cut off by Tyler Crabtree. Tyler and Bindi Crabtree are twins, and I know that twins just love being compared to each other, but they both came up from the GWV Rebels in the Talent League, so both Western Victorians. And of course the Kawa sisters in the Aspley side are both from Ballarat as well, so well represented. Vanderweel just staying on her feet as Bindi Crabtree hits the deck and stays there. Is it respect for the opposition, Jamie, that's making them rush their disposals, perhaps?
I think at the moment it's just, when it's in contested situations like this, it's got to do with the pressure. But when they're taking a mark, they're just not going back far enough off the mark when they're kicking long down the line, which is why we're getting the few smothers at play.
And these are experienced players. Like they were not making that mistake last season, so I'll just leave that question on the table and we may get an answer later. So 1 goal apiece. Southport lead by a point. Well, stolen by Day. Couldn't get a clean kick away. Cleaned up by Ship, the captain. Now premiership captain, of course. And there's your answer about the condition of the ground as Georgia Smith hits the deck with a slippery bit. And for all that action, the ball only moved about 5 metres. O'Brien in the ruck, as she often does. And a throw called. Aspley with a chance to attack. There are spare players sideways, but not really forward. So that's where Day goes, to the centre. Didn't really wait the kick, and it was picked off relatively easily at centre halfback by, I think, O'Brien. Gregory, just through the hands. Lucy Thompson, very experienced fullback. The handball didn't quite go where it was wanted, and then Ebony Mill is introduced to the boundary line rather emphatically.
Great start by Katie Day here. She's really imposing herself at the contest.
Just went down to Melbourne to see if she could crack the AFLW. It's no disgrace that it didn't work out, picking up a club best and fairest. As O'Brien goes towards the middle of the field, Hannah Davies marked well under pressure from Thompson. The experience of Hannah Davies. Looking forward for Gregory. Went over the top of her. O'Brien is in a lot of space. Has a bounce. Roberts evades the tackle. Got it forward. And that is a well-constructed goal to Olivia Marr. Her 5th in 3 matches for Southport.
Great decision by Steph O'Brien there just to make that a little bit of an easier shot by handballing into Olivia, who was running into an open goal. But I think the interesting part to know, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is both teams are still trying to maintain this very straight down through the centre corridor to goal, and it's all straight-lined movements, whether that's by handball or by foot. There's not a lot of switching, there's not a lot of trying to maintain possession, which is quite an interesting concept because we probably thought both teams were going to do the opposite. So we've got a dry day and they're trying to play more wet weather footy. So maybe the underfoot conditions are a little bit more damp than I am assuming from this commentary space.
You can pop down there at quarter time and let us know, Jamie. So no one will say no. Brouard got it out wide. Suckling running through the middle. She had a good first year in Queensland last year. O'Brien, slalom runs through everyone. Over the top, Pengelly with a punch. The cavalry coming. Pittman, very calm at the back. Almost good enough to make a state captain. Knocked inside, Jasmine Kawa, who did a lot of fitness work over the off-season, and she is looking very strong this year, the younger Kawa, sorry. Started the season on fire, and perhaps a couple of times let her frustrations get the better of her, because she has been performing well in a side that hasn't had luck go its way. Big handball forward to her sister Maddie. Maddie clears up the right-hand side. Mark is dropped by Dufty, another one who came from Maroochydore, signed the day before the season began. Up towards Stallard. Didn't quite get the kind bounce. Ship used her speed to get back quickly. Wrestling with Vetter. More on Vetter in just a moment. Handballs underneath. Turned it over to Brouard. Brouard is wrapped up. Rachel Vetter, today is her 100th game in the Bond University QAFLW. She's won a premiership with UQ. She was a leading goal kicker in 2022. She's done a few things Jamie Stanton's done, actually, but congratulations to Rachel Vetter. 100th game today as Southport win a free kick at left halfback.
So this is where I'd expect Southport to try and change lanes, but as you can see, they're just going straight up the middle to another contest, and here we go again, another contest. It'll be a run out the back, but still the same process.
Watt got it on the boot, saw that the 2-on-2 was there. Some fierce bumping off the ball. Brindy Crabtree was pushed sideways. They have regained possession, Southport. Came off the right of Plupel's boot, out on the full, but Southport with territorial advantage. Now, you've picked up on that well, Jamie, that it's not just what we thought. We've got 2 years of solid evidence of these teams playing wide ball, and you're right, it's just not happening today. Whether it's a first quarter tactic and they get more expansive once they're comfortable with conditions, I'm not sure. Pengelia attempts the first switch of the day. Lanigan's bumped off it. Bindi Crabtree inside to a captain Ship. Rolls underneath Pengelly, who recovers well. Ball up, still in a handy position for the Sharks.
Pengelly's switch is the right idea, but she actually had one closer to her that she needs to use. You need to utilise the spare, because otherwise it's a very easy defensive read.
Pluples had time to set herself. It's across the face. Roberts after it, as is Hannah Davies. Davies got there first, suddenly found herself in a bit of space. The defence just disappeared, and that is an excellent mark going back from Pulteney. Off the fingers of Tallis. Danger not over. Aspley haven't cleared. Southport looking to pounce. Holly O'Flaherty could almost be harangued for murder with what she did on that ball. She killed it completely. Probably a bit harsh. Taken uncontested by Pulteney. Tallis. Not her sweetest kick. And Alder will just watch that over the line for a free kick.
I love how she put her hands out, like to ask for it. It's just the rule. You get it. You don't have to ask.
Yeah, it's not, you don't have to say, how's that? Marked by O'Brien. Well picked out by Alder. O'Brien goes centrally. They're outnumbered, but they have the space, and there's a bit of pushing. Ashley will get the chance to clear. Goes against Caitlin Miller. Disappointed to see her out of the AFLW, but delighted to see her back in the Bond University QAFLW. And that was a delightful clearance to hit McMillan on the chest. Went in the middle towards Hung. Lost out. Pluples again through the middle. And was tripped as she kicked.
Oh, don't agree with that call.
Okay.
Personally. Yeah, we play contact sport, and when someone's in the kicking motion and you're close enough, that's still allowed. It's once they're past the kicking motion, that's when you're not allowed to contact them. So we're not playing netball out here.
Thanks, Jamie. Hannah Davies with a set shot. Not sure about the distance. It's also off to the left. Nearly a mark taken in the pocket. And just wrapped up was Ebony Milne. It's been pushed a long way forward.
I should note that we can't play this game without the umpires, so we appreciate them, but...
I'll let you do that yourself. No, more on that in a moment, but... we're allowed to have kick run across goal, across the face. That came out of nothing. I saw the leg swing, but didn't see the ball leave the foot, and suddenly it was across the other side of goal. No, the umpires take a lot of pride in the work. They'll review it. They don't want a side to win. They want to have a perfect game. Just going for a bit of leverage was Tiani Brown in the 10 shirt for Southport. They do like wearing these black Indigenous jumpers, Southport. It's a cracker of a jersey, and they often drag it out for away games or just because. And a little way of acknowledging the original inhabitants of this country. Strong tackle by Suckling. Was deemed to have held on a bit long, but I don't think Matt Lappin will mind the effort from Suckling there, as Day has the free kick. Slaps it up the near side. Jasmine Kawa! She wanted that from about 5 metres behind the contest. And again finds Maddie. They spotted the overlap on the outside, which was created by Pittman pushing up. Back into the middle. McMillan was slightly wrong-footed, but recovered well. Slaps it up to the pocket. Was looking for Stallard. Went straight through her. And Southport had a few numbers spare. They've got space on the right. Inside to Hannah Davies. It just yorked her. Kawa putting her under pressure. Davies recovered extremely well. Inside, found Bindi Crabtree. Over the top to Caitlin Miller. Forward to, oh, that's Bindi, sorry, it was Tyler before, my apologies. Baldwin has Gregory over the top. Baldwin puts it forward. Now it's a foot race. Roberts is going back hard. Got towards Gregory. That's excellent work from Roberts. Pittman comes in to help. Hasn't been cleared, but at least now it's a 2-on-2. Gabby Roberts take a bow in defence. Maddie Carver flattened on the ground. So good work by Watt underneath. And then the shot came in. I'm not even sure the player was fully on her feet when she shot that. It was just squirted out for a minor score.
I think Skinny would be a little bit disappointed with that inside 50 entry in terms of the way that Maddie had the ball at the top of the 50 there. She probably needs with a tall to hold play. I understand it's a free player coming outside, into 50 on their own, but with that being Tay Gregory, who's a tall, you actually want to give her the mark there, and you've got to provide her with a better option.
Just cut off good points as Baldwin tries to make up for her error before. Well, what you saw there was the way they played in 2024. I have a feeling there's Matt Lappin's installing some new habits that are going to take a while to become fully ingrained. So well picked up, Jamie. And no, you don't need my approval.
I appreciate it, though.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm here for you. A little bit messy, and Southport just making the error that will allow Aspley to clear. So Southport have dominated most of this quarter, it has to be said. Hung does well at the back. He's just able to get in the way of O'Brien. And Hung probably one of the few people in the comp who can match O'Brien physically. Only 19 in the 24 share, but he's put on a lot of muscle in the off-season. O'Brien found space, looking for a 2-on-2 contest. Baldwin held off at Davies in space. Didn't see a shot in front of her. Had that been held on, it would have been a certain goal to Ship. Back inside to Crabtree. Smothered. I think that was O'Flaherty. Liesi, O'Flaherty. She clears. Amazing triple effort from O'Flaherty. Baltays drops it from the back. Will be picked up by Olivia Robinson.
Oh, no. Someone's sound injured.
Thanks, Jamie. We'll pick up on the injury in a moment. Goes inside. Suckling's shot is smothered. Now it's just up to the umpires to determine how close the injury is. The good thing, the other major rule change to the Bond University QAFLW this year is there's now time off for injuries. For years, it was just 20-minute flat quarters, and injuries would take so much time out of the game. Now it's modified time on for injuries and goals and behind. Sorry, Jamie.
No, it's funny. Apologies, I cut you off. It's just one of those ones where you see someone down holding their lower leg, knee, shin region. You never wish any of those injuries upon anyone, especially in that sort of location.
Yeah, I'm sad to say you have some first-hand experience of those, so I take your word very seriously. That's Georgia Smith hobbling off. Hopefully she's okay, because she named at centre-half forward. Played a bit of rugby union at, I think, national level as well.
She's actually had a really good start to the game.
Agreed. Turned over O'Brien. Appealing to the umpire. Nothing forthcoming. Goes back to Robinson, who's looking all right in defence. Strong tackle from Day. She's always been a go-get-'em kind of player.
Aspley were pretty lucky there. That was a 2-on-7 towards Southport's way, so they got lucky with the stoppage.
Or you could say that Southport's 2 have passed their first test about how they're going to line up. Sons, Priest and Kimber. Moving it wide now, but probably more out of necessity than design. Tackle is shaken off by Miller. Was looking for Gregory. Pengelly got the punch from the back, and Gregory probably got a little bit too far under it anyway. Handballs to Watt. Watt had the most handballs in the comp last year, and most of them were high quality. Suckling inside 50. Baldwin! Her teammates call her a beast, and apparently that's a compliment. Across the field to Hunt. 2 goals in the opening round, including a 100th, and she's got the taste for it.
We do take beast as a compliment when we're on the field. Off it, I'm not sure that's super complimentary, but...
Megan Hunt, as always, looks for the shorter option because the lead began yesterday, and Olivia Marr played for the Thuringoa Bulldogs up in Townsville the last couple of years. And as I say, 4 goals in her first 2 games and 1 today already.
Really disciplined by Megan Hunt there to understand that she's on her distance and to provide it to an easier option, and great leading patterns to never know that it's over.
Olivia Marr looking for a second goal of the quarter. And you'd probably have to say that Southport deserved the 3rd goal in that first term. Quarter time, Southport 3-3-21 lead the Aspley Hornets 1-6. This is the Bond University QAFLW here on the official AFLQ YouTube channel.
Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Sport is alive and well at Bond University.
Quarter time at Auto Mall Aspley Oval. Same sponsor as last year. The sponsor just changed the name from Zups Aspley to Auto Mall Aspley. Go figure. But it is the Southport Sharks who are on top in the first quarter. 2 goals to Olivia Marr, originally from Townsville. 1 goal to Maddie Baldwin for Southport. They're 3-3-21. Aspley scored in the opening minute through Katie Day, who's returned to Queensland after playing with Carlton and Collingwood in Victoria. That was their only scoring shot for the quarter, so they trail by 15 points. My name is Daniel Viles. With me is Gold Coast Suns player and Queensland women's coach Jamie Stanton. Jamie, your thoughts on the first quarter where we didn't see the playing style we thought we would?
Yeah, we were actually having this conversation off air. It's I was a little bit surprised around the playing styles of both teams, but, potentially with how the field condition is feeling underground, it looks quite good. Aspley have done a really good job to maintain a pretty high standard of grass coverage, but underfoot it might be a tad slippery. But we sort of saw towards the back end a couple of Southport handball chains, from Southport, and there was one or two chains through Aspley where you could see that they wanted to move the ball a little bit more with a bit of width, but at this stage it's been more minimal width action and straight long down the lines.
There were a couple of games I saw last year, particularly when you're playing someone who's a bit more on your level, where you take the first quarter conservatively, you have a bit of a feeling out period, and then in the second quarter you go, right, we're confident now, we can expand it a bit. Do you think that one team or the other may be more willing to do that? Because Southport's got the advantage, but Aspley have to, not chase the game, but they're behind.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. I think Luke, from the coach of Aspley, I should mention, is that I think he will be determined to play a game style that is conducive to finals, because he's got to win the grand final. So he needs to keep preparing for whatever that might look like, whether they come dead last or whether they make the grand final again. He's got to get his team better. But obviously Southport under a new coach will also be doing the same. So I would think both coaches will be asking for a different style.
Thank you, Jamie. Second quarter underway at Autumn Aspley Oval. McDonald and O'Brien more or less neutralised the ruck. Liesi has moved into the middle of the field, which is not the most surprising move. Pluples gathers for the Sharks on the outside. Goes all the way back to Brown, who had an outstanding year in 2024. Comes all the way out wide. Mark not able to be held onto by Baltaze, who was playing quite high and wide. And it is a Sharks free kick to Mar. 2 goals in the opening quarter. Not exactly spoilt for choice up front, but ends up just going to a contest, which is well taken. O'Brien got the better of the one-on-one. Went forward, it's gone goal side. Now it's just a foot race. Baldwin kicked air. Gregory. Over the top to Baldwin. Handball's inside. It's messy, but somehow it's a goal. Was it Baldwin who had the last foot?
Miller,
thank you very much.
Caitlin Miller, yeah, look, I think...
Capable of much prettier goals than that is Caitlin Miller.
definitely capable of much prettier goals. And that's the difference between playing a traditional ruckman versus playing Steph O'Brien in the ruck, is she's very capable of taking the overhead mark due to her previous sport, or still her current sport that she plays as well. But her ability then to play on and move the ball quickly challenges the traditional ruckman that's a little bit more cumbersome.
And, of course, I have seen Jasmine Carver do exactly that for Aspley, and basically not won a game single-handed against Bond last year, where she was playing that very mobile ruck role, sort of, Brady Grundy, eat your heart out. But it's interesting that both sides have one. But Southport, she's an all-time great in this competition now, isn't she? Nearly laid it on a platter for Caitlin Miller, and then wrapped up about 55 from goal.
Southport have a very capable ruck in Taylor Gregory, and was my state ruck last year. She's currently playing centre-half forward, so they must just be playing around with their positions.
Well, they've got versatility. There's a bit of tunnel ball from Vanderweel. Watt gets it forward. Again to a contest. Gregory not able to hold on. Pengelly chases through, lays the tackle. Goes out wide, looking for Milne. Handball inside. Gregory, very mobile. Just gets the fist from Pittman. Minor score. Southport on top.
And there, Taylor Gregory displays her ability to be that mobile ruck or mobile forward, even though she's extremely tall.
She told me last year that she wanted you to give her the freedom to move forward, and you said, no, you're my ruck, and then she went forward and kicked a goal anyway from memory. So I hope she got fined for that.
You asked me before about what I pick in game styles. I only had one ruck.
Yes, Jamie's a brilliant player, but not the tallest person. Is there an anti-tall bias? You tell me. Southport's free kick to O'Brien. Again deep. Looking for options. Nearly taken well in defence. Aspley able to clear through Day, who dropped a long way back, and kicked it to her former UQ teammate, O'Brien. She crosses the field. Saw Baldwin, who somehow just seemed to misjudge the flight, and it gave Aspley a chance to clear. Headed boundary side. In fact, the most likely outcome here is a lasso free kick to Southport. So Aspley still not able to negate the danger. And, of course, another player of your Queensland side, Jess Stallard, simply not brought into the game at all so far. That's a lovely leading mark taken by Ma again. Ma goes centrally, one-on-one contest, Baldwin. This time last year, Baldwin was playing defence in reserve grade. It's been a transition.
Good on Doc, the old Southport coach, you're recognising something. I think the best part about that is you see two fantastic lead-up marks, but their ability, both girls attacked the footy with venom, and that's the difference between Aspley and Southport at the moment, is their ability to attack the contest with a bit of heat.
Maddie Baldwin converts. Southport on a roll. They've scored 5 straight since the opening minute. And they lead by 28.
It'll be interesting to see if Luke looks at moving potentially a player behind the ball from Aspley, or what he looks to do to potentially gain some ascendancy, or at least control of what's going on. At the moment, Southport win a stoppage and they're locking it inside 50, and the Aspley can't actually get their hands on it at all, and they can't seem to maintain any possession, which can take some relieving pressure off. But at this stage, it looks like they're trying to just maintain their A game.
Well, you've said two true things. I'm just trying to reconcile them. One is that maybe moving the personnel around, but you were also talking about the way they attack the ball. It could be the problem's not the personnel. The problem is just where the dial is at the moment. I don't want to say they're not putting in effort. They clearly are, but they're not matching Southport's effort. Yeah,
they're definitely not matching the in and under contested possession effort. Definitely.
Just a bit of hobbling away from the contest from Jessie McMillan, who did have a serious injury on pride round from Maroochydore last year. It took her a long time to get fit, and she's fine now, so I'm glad my catastrophising went nowhere. O'Brien doing everything at the moment. Suckling. Lovely, clever handball inside to O'Brien. Just knocked down by McDonald. Aspley have possession for the first time in about 10 minutes. Off Hung, just went through Day. All undone. Brouard, good work by Suckling before that. O'Brien tried to get round McDonald. O'Brien breaks the tackle. Inside 50, looking forward again to Gregory. Had the run inside from Crabtree. Bindi Crabtree off target. Baldwin can't quite get there in time. Minus score.
The Aspley coaching crew need to do something about Steph O'Brien, and whether that's instruction to Emma McDonald around how to deal with her when balls in live play, or whether that's a different person. It definitely needs to happen. At the moment, Steph's taking this game away from Ashley.
Two things that have worked in the past. One is Jasmine Carver. The other is Maddie Carver, who, when Aspley upset Southport in the 2023 preliminary final, Steph was playing on the ball rather than in the ruck at that time, but Carver tagged her out of the game. Maddie Carver. Not happening yet. O'Brien comes up for probably possession number 20 already. Suckling. Came across the front was Ma. Couldn't hold on. It was Gregory who caused the stoppage. In the stoppage, Mads. Hunt was looking for the ball behind the play. Went behind Suckling. Day not quite able to hold on. Knocks Brouard out of the way. Powerhouse work from Milne through the middle in the 34, and then play comes to a halt. At least Aspley stopped the juggernaut from Southport for now, but you suspect that Southport have only hit the pause button, not the stop button. That's a reference for any one of you who remembers tape recorders. And Southport again with an opportunity, because Aspley unable to clear effectively. Baltays keeps it wide. Eva Baldwin has come a long way back. Picked off by Liesi. Didn't really look before she kicked it and went straight down the throat of Baltays. Centres, because all out of lonesome was Tiani Brown. Brown on her bike straight away. She goes deep. Aspley have the numbers. Didn't quite make them count. Strong tackle from Tallis. They've gone wide. Hunt tries to jink inside. Has to go back. Possibly some high contact. That's exactly how it's been seen. Southport with a set shot from about 40 out on the right.
At the moment, Aspley are very reactive. They're moving second to the ball or second to the player movement, whether that be that handball receive from Southport or whatnot. They're just moving very late and reacting very slowly to the process that Southport are putting out there.
So Olivia Marr already has 2 goals. Clearly has a long set shot. Not quite long enough on this occasion. Was brilliantly followed through. And because they've flooded the defence, it looks like Aspley will find a way out. They still haven't properly cleared it, however. And even now, the best result is probably a boundary throw-in. Although I haven't mentioned the umpires yet. I'll do that as soon as they get out of the 50s. And it is a boundary throw-in. Sorry, Jamie.
It astounds me how many girls don't know they can rush the ball over the goal line.
I have seen some very bad acting, which has resulted in free kicks, though. So I think you need to practice your acting about how to make sure it doesn't look deliberate.
When you're under pressure, though, you don't, like in this situation, especially...
Sorry, shot came in from Tyler Crabtree, and then Mark taken in the pocket. The idea was good to centralise the ball, didn't really work, and Brouard takes the mark. So we're back where we started. She plays on quickly with a handball outside. Looked the right decision at the time, maybe not so in hindsight. Worked well from Tyler. And then that's called a throw. Now Aspley with a chance to clear. Please continue, Jamie. Sorry about that.
Oh, don't be silly. I was just talking some rubbish around how many girls don't understand pressure versus time and the goal line.
Well, the coaching is improving, and more on that in a moment. So there's a few things I've got a bit of homework to catch up on, but Southport are just irrepressible at the moment. And again, their marks inside the forward half have been enormous. Zarafa, we know she's got a long boot. Just a case of how accurate it is. How did that get reeled in? That is an astonishing mark in the goal square. I was about to call Olivia Marr. I wasn't sure it was Marr. Olivia Marr, here comes a hat-trick.
I've been really impressed by the way that she attacks the footy, and I know you've mentioned where she's from in terms of North Queensland, so maybe that's part of the reason why she attacks the ball so hard. They're bred a little bit different up there.
Well, she played for the same club that produced Maddie Goodwin, and you can see some similarities in the toughness, can't you?
Definitely, but just her ability to, in that mark, she displays it in her ability to get up and make a contest and reels it in, but her attack of the footy is all at the same high-intensity pace. There's no slowing. Everything is done at that high speed, including taking the mark, which is quite difficult to do.
And words given by a woman who kicked 6 goals in her 50th AFLW match. It was a pleasure to watch that day against West Coast. The umpires for today, proudly supported by Bradnam's Windows and Doors. In the field, we have Jack Pledge and Jason Mitchell. On the boundary, Lucas Richardson and Andrew Barnes. And in goal, Harper Eyre and Nate Wooding. Zarafa. Not quite taken by Hannah Davies, but she was front and centre. In fact, that's Milne, apologies. Charged down well, but cleaned up equally well by Olivia Robinson. Baltays in the middle to Suckling. She's been involved. Picked off by Holly O'Flaherty. Aspley looking for a way, but it's being shut down so quickly. Back to Vetter. Once again, congratulations, 100th QAFLW game. Stallard on her way to the ball was just bumped off it a little by Lily McDonald, who's returned to the Bond University QAFLW from Murrelbach, where she played 2 grand finals, won them both, and won best on ground twice. Southport regained possession, and Megan Hunt's in space. What else is new? Been doing that since you were playing, Jamie. In this comp, I mean. Gregory used her body well, and Pengelly's been pinged. Gregory on her bike straight away. Pittman asking the question. Gregory goes long. Baldwin read that yesterday. And I've got that wrong. Apologies. That is Caitlin Miller.
Fantastic ball movement by Tay Gregory there to understand and recognise that Caitlin Miller had actually taken the space out the back, and knowing that she's a smart forward and that will continue to read the flight of the footy and hold that space.
So Caitlin Miller had a couple of years at GWS. I thought she looked all right, to be honest, but here she is back in the Bond University QAFLW, where she is enjoying herself. Second goal for the quarter to Caitlin Miller, 4th of the quarter to the Southport Sharks. They are on a roll.
I think the position Caitlin plays is quite hard at AFLW, so you can be in and out of the system quite quickly as that small pressure forward due to the way that GWS play themselves. It wasn't conducive to high numbers or high pressure acts due to the fact they struggled to get the ball inside 50 the past couple of years. But she's very crafty, and I spoke about it just before, but her ability to understand the space and hold her defender just slightly underneath to read the flight of Tay Gregory's kick, and fantastic entry by Tay.
I'll put a question on notice. Don't have to. You can answer it when there's time. Do you see another AFLW side that might benefit from a Caitlin Miller type player? I'll just leave that hanging as the free kick's called by the out-of-zone umpire, and Southport's marching on again, this time through Pluples. Has Zarafa to the left and uses her. Zarafa barely tried and still kicked at 50 metres. Punched off. They've gotten goal side. This is Baldwin. Sockers inaccurately.
Coach Killer. Pick it up. Absolutely pick it up.
Is that where you need a word from a teammate, though, to let you know, like, just someone saying you're cold as opposed to you're hot or something like that?
Oh, definitely. There definitely needs to be some communication there. But also, too, with the way the game's going, if she was to be done holding the ball, it's not going to change the significant outcome right now.
Good mark from Jazz Carla. Goes wide to Tallis. Did well in the circumstances. It's a 2-on-2 contest. McDonald used her body well. Got a handball away, but went straight to Brown. Alder wrapped up, still got a handball away. O'Brien was onto it. Well picked off by Maddie Kawa. Comes to Dufty. Free kick given back to Maddie Kawa. Possibly was held onto after she disposed. Went over the back of Dufty, trying to use the height that they've got. Pluples comes away with it. Handballs over the top to Boltays. Hannah Davies. Pluples again wrapping around. This is the new Southport. Boltays wrapped up, but my goodness, the build-up play was impressive. And they basically did it in a corridor, and not a metaphorical one.
And that's what footy looks like, isn't it? The forward handball process. And they did that from half back to half forward pretty much, so good work, Southport.
McDonald copped that on the shoulder. Zarafa and Tallis. Well charged down by Vanderweel. Just a throw in. Hannah Davies off Taylor Gregory on. McDonald off Hunt on. Both for Southport. Maddie Watt laying a tackle. And water is wet. Not a convincing clearance from McMillan. And getting there first will be Robinson. Goes back to Brown. She's been very sure today, Brown. Everything she does, she makes look simple. Watt. Laid off. Deep inside 50. Gregory from the back. Pengeli's done very well. I reckon if you asked 100 players in this competition who the most underrated defender is, about 90 of them would say Lucy Pengeli. And that's not trying to influence the state coach. That's just my experience talking with players around the comp.
Good to know.
Yeah, well, yeah. I have opinions. Don't worry about that.
You're more than welcome to share them.
And you're more than welcome to ignore them.
I might not. See?
Taken by O'Brien, who used to be underrated. Now she's quite rightly lauded. Put forward by Brindy Crabtree. Lands in space. Being attacked by Pittman coming the other way. We're starting to see a little bit more pace at the ball from the Aspley defenders. But they're not going over the top. They've tied it up. Encouraging signs, Jamie?
Yeah, definitely. They've definitely decided to wake up a little bit and recognise and meet Southport halfway at the contest.
Gregory taking a turn at the ruck. No real clearance. Jasmine Kawa decides to just get a little bit wider. Tiani Brown making a rare mistake, just getting underneath that. Bit of an opportunity. Plumpton kicks forward. Stallard versus Alder in a foot race. Pretty much even speed. Alder's done well just to maintain her feet, take the tackle. Just good, solid defensive play from Lee Alder.
Very smart. She slowed up a touch to allow the pick up and the tackle at the same time, so she couldn't be done for holding the ball with a little squirt of a handball either.
Was Alder at Coolangatta at the same time as you were, or not?
No, we didn't share any time at Cooley together. It was probably the year after I left.
Bit of a hopeful kick forward for Aspley, so they've got territory if nothing else. 17 minutes plus time on now in this competition. So we've had 4 goals in this quarter, so we could still have about 3 minutes to go. Using the rule of thumb of add a minute for every goal. And Jessie McMillan was turned 360, concedes the free kick. Bruard wins the free kick, and credit to her, but there were others involved in the tackle. Just goes over the top of Robinson, who's certainly full of running. And then I think there was just a tangle of legs, so Robinson is down. She'll get some attention in a moment. We'll follow the play as a lovely mark is taken out in the right wing by Baldwin, who'd come a long way back. Pengelly gets in front of Gregory and finds a way over the paint.
I have been impressed by Southport's ability now to change their game style on the run very quickly. So it's interesting, maybe you were right, Dan, in the fact that they wanted to play a little bit shy at first, a little bit like a boxing match, right? Like you don't show all your punches to start with.
You've been talking to Jess Malouf, haven't you? Very well-travelled player, Jess Malouf, and coaching. Rihanna Shipp just burst through as though no one was there. Lays it up, leads the hands, but the forwards are coming through. Plenty of players. Outside to Milne. Just hooked it a bit too much. And I think she knew that as soon as it hit the boot. She had a bit of a rueful grimace at the sky. Sorry.
No, fantastic front and centre by Marsh. She's had a bit of a breakout game today. It's been quite nice to watch.
It's Ebony Milne, who obviously not her best passage of play, but yeah, began as a winger mostly, particularly at Yeronga. Then went to Southport and played as a halfback last year, but seems to be pushing a lot further forward, at least in this game. Everyone played everywhere in the first 2 rounds because they were sharing the goals around. McMillan went for a run and then found a soft part of the ground. It'll be put back in by Tyler Crabtree. Pengelly again. Where would they be without her today? She's made about 3 or 4 intercept, not always disposals, but certainly possessions this quarter. And they just know where the game is. Shipp, Rihanna Shipp, out on the full. 2 of her goals in her Bond University QAFLW career have been against Aspley from 50 metres, Rihanna Shipp. So I did ask her on the way in if she'd give me another one today.
One for the highlight reel for you, hey?
That's it, yeah. So I wasn't able to call the other 2. They haven't in non-commentated games. She's way too modest, Rihanna Shipp, particularly for a premiership captain. Aspley away. A rare 4-way forward. O'Flaherty and McMillan combining. And then shut down by Milne. And turned around. Baltays, who's really linked well to what today, Baltays, found Gregory. O'Brien could score from here. In the end, she's gone more towards the pocket. Comes off hands. That'll be towed through.
Is that 4 for Marl?
It is 4. Thank you, Olivia Marr. That is 4. I pick her by the sleeve tattoo on the left arm, but she was facing the other way, so I couldn't see it in the dark. But no, thank you.
And as it gets darker, the tattoo disappears into the
That's
darkness
it, yes,
too.
so
It's not your fault.
This is the difference between me and Quentin, you see.
Was she one of the ones you were talking about earlier about sussing me out to figure out?
She wasn't actually.
Oh, okay.
She wasn't.
Good to know.
But, yeah. So, and neither was Lucy Pengelly. So, but no, that one certainly a reward. I mean, the end of the goal was messy, but the build-up. I mean, the turnover here at half forward. They're pretty relentless once they get control. And we have a 5-6-5 warning. Or was it something different? Either way, Emma McDonald has a free kick in the centre of the ground. Goes straight to a 2-on-2 contest. Hunt did well just to spoil in front. Then was possibly pulled off the ball, but the umpires allowed play on. Dufty over the top. They're not sure back was the right way to go. Turned over. Hunt squeezes a kick through the legs of O'Brien. McDonald. Well charged. Not just charged down. That was caught. Brilliant work. I think that's Tyler Crabtree. Twas. O'Brien tries to take on Jazz Carwin. Nearly succeeds. Got the handball away. Liesi dispossessed. And last to have it was Zarafa. It's been an enterprising half from the Southport Sharks. They didn't give Aspley a lot to play with. Southport at half-time, 8-7, 55, lead the Aspley Hornets 1-6. Thank you, wherever you're watching from around the universe, to the Bond University QAFLW here on the official AFLQ YouTube channel.
Inside this building is a simulated hospital ward, a high-tech biomechanics lab, a commercial kitchen, and a whole virtual home. Let's explore the new Bond Institute of Health and Sport in just 61 seconds. This is the 12-bed simulation hospital ward. From day one, Bond students gain hands-on experience in allied health and exercise science. This is the Work Play Lab, which gives students the opportunity to provide occupational therapy for our youngest, while the Activities of Daily Living Lab simulates a full home environment, giving students the chance to practice mobility work with our wisest. From sprinting to golf swings, this track can track it. Using pressure sensors and high-speed cameras, it can analyze anything from age-related conditions to elite sports training. Wow. The kitchen lab has solar-powered sustainable cooking stations, giving postgrad nutrition and dietetic students access to commercial-grade equipment.
Thank you.
Why don't you come and check out the Bond Institute of Health and Sport for yourself? Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? I've got 61 seconds to race you through the life of a student in the Bond Elite Sport program. Strap in. Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain, supporting student athletes like Mia. Student athletes have access to flexible study loads, adjusted academic requirements, and tutoring. The top tier of student athletes even receive funding to assist with their travel and competition costs. Bond also runs 4 high-performance sporting programs that field competitive teams. There's netball, rugby, AFL, and swimming. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Whether it's producing world-class athletes or offering scholarships to high-achieving students every single year, sport is alive and well at Bond University.
Welcome back to Autumn Mall Aspley Oval in Castledine. This is round 3, the Anzac round of the Bond University QAFLW, and it is all Southport. The top 2 teams of last year, they met in a qualifying final. Aspley ended up losing that game and not qualifying for the grand final, but they are having problems getting their hands on the ball at the moment. Southport, 8 goals, 7.55 lead. Aspley, 1 goal, 6. Their goal was scored by Katie Day in the opening minute. For Southport, we have 4 goals, 2 in each quarter, to Olivia Marr. She's doubled her goal tally for the year. Maddie Baldwin has 2 and Caitlin Miller has 2. My name is Daniel Viles. With me is Jamie Stanton. Jamie, we've got a few things to talk about, but firstly, just in that second quarter, I mean, you asked the question on air a few times, what can Aspley do? Have you been able to come up with any answers over the halftime break about how they can stop the Southport juggernaut?
It's interesting. They flipped the magnets a little bit in terms of they moved Maddie Kawa and Lucia Luesi into the midfield and off centre-half back as an attempt to halt some momentum. I would potentially play around with the hung magnet that's sitting at centre-half forward at the moment. They're really struggling to get the ball over halfway, and as much as she's a very good contested mark down the line, she's not helping the cause at the moment because they can't maintain possession. So, do you swing her back for 5 minutes just to maintain some possession, and then once there's a little bit more 50-50 split, you then relocate her? Starlard could maybe come up a little bit higher, but they seem to be playing her at around 50% game time, or potentially even maybe slightly less. So I think hung magnet is potentially one, and then they also need to look at putting someone on Steph O'Brien. I think they may have gone with Maddie's sister,
Jasmine.
Jazz Kawa on her. In towards the back end of that quarter, she just looked like she was rolling around the midfield a little bit more than she was in that first quarter, but at the moment it doesn't seem to be having the desired impact. And
just to back you up there, Lilu Hung has also played a bit of centre half-back as well. She can play key position at either end. A couple of ads to do, so to speak. So first of all, in the area of women's coaching, there are over 300 now in Queensland, women coaching teams, juniors, seniors, all over the place. That we've never had so many female coaches in this state. One of them is Ebony Otto, who is downstairs at the moment because she is the backline coach for this Southport side. She is also running for the next few Sundays at Fankhauser Reserve sessions called Kick and Coffee. I did have a crack at her about the coffee because I'm a tea drinker. Not important. But if you are or know a female coach who wants to get a bit of help with their coaching and develop it a bit, and maybe do it in a fairly unstressed environment, for the next few Sundays at Fankhauser Reserve, Emily Otto, will be running Kick and Coffee sessions. So head down there for that. The other thing worth mentioning, the Pride Round that's Jarrah Corporate Pride Round that AFLQ hosted last year, and we had the big day out at South Pine Sports Complex. That won an award at the Australian Pride and Sports Awards during the week. And Maddie Crowley-Long, who's been a long-time player in this comp for First Zilmere and then University of Queensland, went down to collect the award. But yeah, one of the great events promoting equality for LGBTQI plus people has been put on by AFL Queensland. That's something that the organisation is very proud of. So, Jamie, you're a magnificent coach, but you didn't come up with the idea of Kick and Coffee. It was there the whole time. You just needed to put your skills with a beverage.
If I had the time, God, I wish I could have a Kick and Coffee. That'd be great.
Third quarter underway at Autumn Mall at Aspley Oval. Dufty got it forward towards Day. They're starting the third quarter as the way they wanted to start the match, and then it was cut off by Ebony Milne, who's moved back into the back line. Trying to run out of the back, and I thought Zarafa may have made a mistake. Alder under pressure. Pulteney's been moved into the forward line. Interesting move. So put a bit of height up forward in the form of the former Yeronga Ruck. No sign of rain. Very humid conditions. You can tell it's been raining in this city for the last week, or a few weeks really. Southport away. Handball over the top to Zarafa. Didn't get a kind bounce. A sock at it. Well cleaned up by Tallis. Sends it back with interest. 2 or 1-on-1. Not able to be held by Pulteney. She was pushed off it. I thought I heard a whistle. I'm hearing things. I'm getting old.
No, I think you should have heard a whistle.
Interesting. So my subliminal.
I think, you were projecting what should have happened.
I know you're a qualified teacher. Do psychology as well?
Negative.
Loose ball. Volleyballed by Milne out wide to Maddie Kawa. Needed support, found it from Hung behind. Hung with a long kick, it's into the pocket, and in fact I think it's gone out on the full. So with your brown and gold glasses on, you're saying, well, at least we've still got territory. But I don't think Southport care in this mood. They just want to connect some passes and get up the southern end of the ground. And one way of doing that is to kick it straight down Steph O'Brien, who's been monumental today. There's a few photos in that run. And then the commentator's curse kicks in. She kicks it into an opponent. Turned over. And Aspley pushed, Southport pushed a lot of players forward. Hung has a better kick this time. Goes over the back. Just needs someone to get a roll on. On the ground, Stallard was lurking. Brown will push it away. There was some desperate defence from two other Southport defenders on the line. Maddie Watts able to clear. Went out wide, was looking for Davies. Inside to Zarafa. I don't think Zarafa handballed once last year. She's handballed more in this match, which I think is indicative of the style of Southport changing. High contact, free kick to Aspley. And they're able to maintain a bit of momentum. Switching the play. Can't remember Aspley doing that too many times. Mind you, they haven't had too much possession. Not the best kick. It's been able to be picked off by Suckling, who's still in the contest against Pittman, and will bring things to a halt.
If you're the Aspley coaching staff, you're very happy with how they've started this third quarter. It looks like they've tried to make some adjustments with magnets and style.
So Dufty, who was playing forward, has come into the ruck, goes through the legs of Zarafa, bumped off by Hung, who then had a kick, and I think both the foot and the ball were impeded. Tallis got forward to Day. Day aerial kick to the goal square. Picked off by Hunt. Not a traditional looking fullback as Megan Hunt, is she? Out to Rihanna Shipp. Not her best handball. She'd like to have that one back. Goes and gathers it herself. Uses her speed. Stallard nearly got the decision. Day comes off the top of the boot. Doesn't go all that far. Through the hands of Pulteney. Stallard just dribbles it along the boundary. Front position from Liesi. Handball inside. And they are on the board. Is that Lucy Thompson?
I think you're right.
Lucy Thompson, let me get the stats. This is her 96th QAFLW game. It's her 9th goal, but it must be her first for about 6 years.
She's also known to play full back.
I reckon about
96 of those games she's played full back.
Yeah, pretty much. In fact, I think the previous 8 goals were an accident.
Or I would say for the other team nearly, but they're not. But she definitely doesn't travel too far forward traditionally. But I did ask for magnet moving, and Luke's delivered. So she's gone from full back to full forward.
That is not the magnet move you meant, Jamie Stanton. That is absolutely not the magnet move.
But I'll take it. I did call for magnets.
Oh, it's fantastic to see. Aspley at it again. Day through the middle. I think that was Alder crashing back. It was Liesi. Liesi gives it a good roost. It's offline. Thompson was chasing it. Free kick has gone to... Oh, no, it's a downtown free kick. Okay, who had Lucy Thompson 2 goals on their bingo card? There's an answer to that. No one. She's played well over 100 games all told for Aspley. A one-club woman. And with a downtown free kick, minus score. I don't yet know whether it's going to affect the result, but the feeling of this game has rapidly changed.
It has, which is fantastic to see. I think Aspley need a good half to finish here to allow them to gain some momentum going into the rest of the season.
Southport keep it simple, go straight through the middle, only a little bit wide, and I'm not even sure that was deliberate. Suckling couldn't quite receive the handball from Watt, picked up by Maddie Kawa. Wrestling on the far side of the centre square. Punt forward, one-on-one contest. The punch wasn't all that effective from Pittman. The kick was, though, bringing back the old Brisbane Raw skills. You know a bit about that, Jamie?
Yeah, Pity made it to the professional level. I only played overseas at college, so she's got me on that one.
Just through the hands of Gregory. Davies comes back to Zarafa. She could score from here. We know she's got the distance. There's no one in the goal square. Got a roll on. That's rush 3. You happy now, Jamie?
Very happy.
There we go. A bit of experience and professionalism. But again, that was pretty rapid defence to attack transition. Wasn't that long ago that Aspley scored there behind. Pengelly trying to come wide, but it's 2 a 2-on-2. Landed on top of Bruard. O'Brien did well to get it over the back of the head. Plupel's on the ground. Came off the shin of Liesi. Cleared by Tallis. Looking for Pulteney. He managed to hold on under a lot of pressure from Megan Hunt. Stallard is wide. They weren't really streaming forward, the Aspley forwards. And kicks to an outnumbered contest. They get a bit lucky. Plumpton's out the side. Gets the handball away. Is looking for Roberts, who's gone forward. Just couldn't get clean hands on it. They need to build up the attack. Handball wasn't great. They get it back. Roberts at left half forward. Turns it over the head of Stallard. It will fall to O'Flaherty. O'Flaherty, a natural left footer. Just goes for the up and under towards the goal square. Hits the deck. Was is hammered. And then over the boundary. Should just be a throw-in.
I'm not sure Skinny would love this start from Southport. I also spoke about Aspley earlier being reactive. Southport are now reactive. It's like they've gone into their shell at half-time and queuing the rack and are happy just to waltz on to the W.
I'll ask in a moment if that's structure or intensity, or possibly 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. No real winner from the ensuing ruck. They've got possession. It went past Suckling. They're certainly a lot less clean. Hard running from McMillan, was able to break the tackle. Again to an outnumbered contest, but it may fall fortuitously for them. Thompson is sniping. Hunt thought about rushing, then realised she didn't need to. Instead played it out to the pocket. And again, they've got a 3-on-2. Bruard is the recipient. Couldn't get clean hands, was knocked over by Plumpton. But they find a way, the Sharks. Gregory a long way back. Didn't really look where she was kicking that, but in the end, it's worked out well for them. Pengelly is the last line of defence. Umpire allowed, well, no, just a boundary throw-in. I thought the outer zone umpire may have intervened there, but not so.
And to answer your question, Dan, I think it's intensity, but I think it's based around the fact that Southport haven't actually needed to play a second quarter, third, or fourth quarter previously.
Good observation. Zarafa, that is one hell of a don't argue on Jessie McMillan. On to the 50. Players in position for the mark, but no one actually took it. Gregory found herself in a lot of space. Used a bit of vision to get it across. Pluples comes through. Brilliant tackle from Roberts. Cold play on. Works to Aspley's advantage anyway. McMillan. Good vision in the centre. So possibly the right result, although with the dropped ball. And I'll save Jamie from having criticised the umpires by just saying she's shaking her head. Let's move on.
Oh, it's got more to do with the... Katie Day's been one of their best, but she has to mark that ball. It changes the dynamic of the landscape of them moving the ball forward versus Southport potentially kicking a goal.
And they've got the run on again now. Again, desperate defence. That was McMillan. Ship looking for space. She usually finds it. O'Brien, Beletic, Zarafa on the left. And, not well marked in the goal square. It was about to be. And Pengelly, again, that's one way of getting a rush behind. You kick it into Taylor Gregory.
But that's what I mean about just rushing it over. Pressure. You're allowed to. It's okay.
I think Pengelly thought about it. Then she thought, well, Megan Hunt didn't, so I won't either. So a succession of minor scores in this quarter. Pengelly will bring it out, bring it wide. Dufty was battling with Baltays underneath, and McDonald was well protected by Pluples. Over to O'Brien. Possibly, I was about to call her best on ground, and that's why she kicked badly, because I cursed the players. Zarafa. Circumnavigates the contest. Baltays off the outside of the boot, but that might work. Just through the hands of Davies. Lanigan working well in defence. Davies got there. Handballs inside. Looking for runners on the way through. That looked a little bit too much like rugby union for Matt Lapham's liking.
Southport have had a couple of opportunities with their small forwards where if they had left foot or wanted to attempt to snap on their left foot, they could have at least had a couple more shots at goal. Whether they would have been successful or not is a different story.
I have a follow-up question on that. Jasmine Carver takes it and then was held. No, it's been called a throw, so Southport will have a goal-scoring opportunity. But no, I see the next evolution of women's football as being players who just from juniors start to learn to kick on 2 feet, because there are some very successful but very one-footed players in the AFLW, never mind this level.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference, especially as a forward. You have to at least be able to use your left foot, but so as a very successful mid, you also have to be able to use your left foot. It's when in doubt, chuck it on the left at a bare minimum.
Maddie Watt doesn't score all that often, but she got 2 a couple of weeks ago. Misses on this occasion. She's got skills, Maddie. Maybe not goal kicking. So once again, Pengelly's required to restart. They got a bit of space this time. Her kick was probably a bit shorter than she wanted. And we have a Lasso free kick. So again, no, it is a throw-in. AFL fields, you have these beautifully, brightly painted 50-metre arcs. I'm jealous. Bruard battling on the ground against 2. Maddie Carwood brings it to ground. Just a bit of a rough landing. Pepper Poltney in the ruck is told to jump. There's some in-depth coaching.
Feels a little bit like deja vu. Aspley started the game really well and then faded in third quarter very similarly.
It's been a game of patterns, hasn't it? Well taken by Plooples. Vetta got a little bit close. I thought she was flirting with giving away a 50. Emma McDonald had her hands all over the defender. I've completely misread that. McDonald's got the free kick. Founds a player in space who drops the mark. Story of Aspley's night. Taken by Alder, who is calmness personified at the back. Again, just reverting to a bit of a simple play. The Sharks, they've been under a bit of pressure. And so I thought, okay, let's just go back into the shell for a little bit. And we'll come out again later. Baldwin. Well charged down by Pengelly. Baldwin has another crack. Gets it forward to Plooples. And Rachel Vetter gets a piggyback ride in her 100th QAFLW game.
Did you have that on your bingo card?
No, I didn't. Okay, so it looks like the Southport player was brought to ground. Is that O'Brien on the ground?
I think so. I have a question for you, Dan, because I don't know the ruck rules, so please help me. Is the ruck in a ball-up situation not allowed to jump with their knee up to protect themselves? Because that's what the free kick has been blown for.
Okay, the short answer is I don't know perfectly. Rowan Briggs was here before. There are certainly, it's been a while since I've actually read the laws, and a lot of people who comment on the laws, it's been ages since they've read them. So that might be actually, because I have them on my laptop, I might actually just look that up in the three-quarter time break, and we'll get a definitive answer on it.
I find it really interesting because I can speak from a forward that's learning to, mark in those types of processes and what we're taught at our level. We're taught to get our knee up and to keep it there, one, for protection for us, but also to hurt the other person and in more of the, not so they stay down and never get up again, but more to make them question their ability.
You're putting doubt in their mind.
Yeah, to go back and do that again. So I would have assumed that a marking contest and a ruck contest would have been similar enough.
I think the difference with a marking contest is you're often moving towards it from a lot further back than a ruck contest. So the amount of damage that can be done, or the amount of damage that can be premeditated and sort of designed, is a bit different. Yeah. But once again, I'm sort of trying to get into the minds of the lawmakers when I'm not one of them.
Yeah. No, it's just it's a very interesting concept, because why can we do it at a centre bounce versus then around the ground would be also then my question to those lawmakers.
This is where I miss having Chris Yind, who does a lot of commentary in the VFL and has done a lot in this competition, but he's also a qualified umpire. And so when we'll time travel, get him in the commentary box, and then we'll be able to answer this question. But
Apologies, that's not something I'm adding to my repertoire. Umpiring is not something I'm interested in. They do a lot of Ks and I don't like running, so...
It's an aerobic activity. Just on that, umpire.afl, if you ever thought about umpiring footy, whether it's through desire or just frustration, if you go to umpire.afl, they are short. The game needs umpires, and yes, in the comment box, we will talk about the decisions, and these umpires, they hold themselves accountable. They want to have a perfect game, and so they'll go back and review this game and go, got that one wrong. Oh, nailed that one. And but yeah, they want to improve. You do get a bit of coin for it, and that might be one motivation, but also just to be part of the game. If you're an Aussie Rules lover and you want to help make the game better, then be part of the solution. Umpire.afl.
Yeah, and as much as we critique you, you are required. You're more important than the players. Without you, we can't play, but they can find another player. And
a fair bit more important than the commentators. So I think we're in the pecking order. We're somewhere above mascots. As in the ones in suits, not the kids. The kids are great. They're important. I'm talking about the ones who dress up we're more important than them. I said it. So a bit of concern for Steph O'Brien. We try in the commentary in the State League not to focus too much on the nature of an injury that we can't. In fact, I'm now doubting that's O'Brien. That's Baldwin. So apologies for giving alarm to the wrong set of supporters, but Maddie Baldwin, who is a tough nut, so if she's down, or has been down, then there's something seriously wrong. So we've identified the player correctly. Crystal Scott just on her right shoulder, who almost overqualified in this circumstance, but the medical staff at Southport are quite a good unit. She does have her finger protected at the moment as well, so all the best Maddie Baldwin, and the uninjured Steph O'Brien now has the free kick. Goes across the field. Good attacking of the ball from the Aspley defence. And then the handball underneath the contest. It looked good up until they turned it over. Tiani Brown has been very sure in defence today, and then excellent positioning from Gregory. Judged the flight of that ball to perfection. And marked it in the middle of a contest. Has to go to another contest. McDonald attempts the spoil. Worked out all right. Ship wasn't able to get a clean shot away. And then McDonald finds a way to rush her behind because she's been downstairs listening to Jamie.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad someone listens to me.
I listen to you, Dan. You're an influential woman. It sounds like I'm taking the mickey, but I was actually being genuine. So through the hands of McMillan. Well done by Hung. Kicks over the top, looking for Thompson. It may just find Thompson. Hunt was clever in her positioning, and Thompson was trying to take on 4 Sharks by herself. Through to Tiani Brown. Spoiling from a few different directions. Gregory finds a way. Comes out to Tyler Crabtree. Slaps it inside 50. And a bit of fumble from Jazz Kawa, which was not deliberate. So she's been moved into the back line at this point.
So Aspley have been able to slow down Southport's scoring rate. But in doing so, they've lost all forward structure. And we saw that with Lucy Thompson there playing a 4v1 contest. They have to gain possession and they have to find a mark.
Gregory acting the ruck, knocked it down, but there was no space to where she put it.
So what I mean by that is they need to find a mark to then be able to allow their forwards to reset, to then actually play a game style.
Essentially, you're saying you'd like to see a different balance from what they've got at the moment. At the moment, it's too defensively minded. Well, we'll see how they cope with this, because they've got to break away again through O'Flaherty, and pretty much everything Jamie Stanton was talking about has just happened, because Lucy Thompson, very well as it happens, took on 3 Sharks until the cavalry arrived. O'Flaherty, who made the initial kick, regathers out to Stallard. So they've made it work, just off one hand of McDonald. But again, Plumpton was superb there, because she was the only Aspley player, and she's been pinged, possibly for holding on, but so Hunt switches to play, found Brouard, who then had Vanderweel on her back, maybe early. Came sideways, didn't go 15, Stallard Sockers. It was a decent effort for an ex-net baller. Plumpton working through, just a few fumbles. I don't know if the ball's getting slippery or whether there's a bit of fatigue. Through to Katie Day. It's only Day and Thompson. Day fumbles. Southport get back in numbers. Liesi fumbles. And then beautifully pilfered by Zarafa, who just read the play and suddenly found the ball on her stomach. Pittman, Hung, back to Pittman. Pittman looking for a way through. Let's pretend that was the kick she wanted. Day snaps.
I can tell you that was the kick she wanted.
Thank you very much.
Very good vision and actually quite smart. As much as it looked very, very hopeless.
I appreciate that, Jamie. And so Southport working it out through the right-hand side. And then going infield a bit earlier than you would expect. Karma and McDonald got in each other's way a bit. Karma tried to fend off Ship. And Ship's never been a bad tackler, but she just improved so rapidly. She's 29 now. I'm guessing she came to the game late, but she's learned it at pace. Dufty. Don't know who she was looking for, but it wasn't Zarafa. Got it back to Pluples. Wrapped up by Tallis, and that was a throw. So Aspley with an opportunity, although the clock may beat them. We are very, very deep into the third term. Tallis told to get on with it. On the bounce to Liesi. Towards centre half forward. Knocked forward by Roberts. Bit of friendly fire between Roberts and Thompson. Thompson stays down. No, she's back up again, but the turnover has happened. Bindi Crabtree not with the best handball. Hung puts it back inside 50. Very well cut off at the back. I think it was Baltays. Happy to be corrected. Through in the middle. Just goes through the hands of Miller. But I think the question marks over Southport's defensive structure have been answered tonight. Jamie, sorry.
No, I definitely. Their defensive structure has been quite good. I think Aspley's definitely improved their intensity at the contest. They just need to also now match that with some form of ball movement.
Yeah, but a little bit, well, it had to be one-dimensional because often there's only been one player. It's only if they can hold the ball up. So Lanigan back to Pittman, who's been getting very involved. That's a 1-2-3-4 with Lanigan and Pittman. Pittman skillful. Just a boundary throw-in. I think the biggest criticism you've made of the Southport defence tonight is there have been times when they've just been a bit rushed. But in terms of where they are and how they're blocking off Aspley's routes to goal, my sense is that's been quite good. I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so Southport are quite interesting in the way they want to defend. They use Megan Hunt specifically as a spare behind the ball, and they're quite happy for her to allow her half forward to come up at the contest or lead up and take the mark at the top of 50 per se. And then she then sits back to become the spare.
Thanks, Jamie. More on that in third quarter. There was just a little bit of pushing and shoving after the three-quarter time siren, but nothing that's going to make the newspapers. Three-quarter time, Aspley scored, but it's still Southport very much in control. 8-11-59 lead the Aspley Hornets 2-1-13. Thank you for your company on round 3 of the Bond University QAFLW.
Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Sport is alive and well at Bond University.
1 quarter remaining. Southport didn't kick a goal in that quarter. They did have 4 minor scores, but still very much in control. 8-11-59 to Aspley's 2-1-13. With a rare goal to Lucy Thompson, and I must say, as a neutral, seeing Lucy Thompson score a goal and then celebrate it like it was, her birthday or something it was absolutely fantastic. So Day and Thompson have the goals for Aspley. For Southport, 4 to Marr, 2 each to Baldwin and Miller. My name is Daniel Viles. With me is Jamie Stanton, whose half-hour biography I could probably just condense into current Queensland women's coach, but there's a lot more to her than that. I think most of what you were summarising you've already said in the third quarter, but it will be interesting to see whether Aspley can not park the bus so much and maybe just not overcommit in defence in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, I was impressed by Aspley's ability to win the ball at the source, and they were actually winning probably more of the clearances in that quarter. But what they did with that ball post was the issue for me. They asked their high forwards to come down very deep to support defensively, but then didn't use them in transition on the way out.
They've got 20 minutes to see what they can do against the side that is, as of right now, the number 1 side in the competition. Watt out of the middle. Handballs as she always does. Cycling got in and out of trouble. O'Brien. Zarafa. Zarafa goes deep. 1-on-1 contest looking for Gregory, who's been very involved tonight. Didn't get the initial mark, but went chasing it. McDonald lost the ball in defence. That came around to Marr. Olivia Marr! A 5-pack.
Fantastic front and centre, firstly, and then secondly, to finish like that with a wet ball in these later conditions is absolutely fantastic. She's definitely played a ripper of the game and taken advantage of her opportunities.
Well, that's every quarter we've had an early goal now. 3 of them in the first minute to Katie Day, Caitlin Miller, and now Olivia Marr. The late one was Lucy Thompson scoring in the 4th minute of the third quarter. That let us down a bit, but I was impressed with Taylor Gregory, who missed the initial mark, but her ability to just move quickly and affect the next phase of play, not something every tall forward in this comp does, it must be said.
Strength of hers, though.
Pushed off the ball in the middle was Tyler Crabtree. They're away through the middle. McMillan goes deep. Kicked that from a long way out. Was looking for Thompson up forward, just not quite able to hold up the play. Alder gets around, had some good help from McDonald prior to that. Not able to clear 50. Handballs inside. And now back towards the centre-half forward line. Katie Day went up hard. And I think she's been penalised for having her hands over the shoulders of O'Brien. So we're not expecting to see Maddie Baldwin back in this quarter. That's the kind of kick we were talking about before, Jamie, where you just see a player in space and you know that you can hit them on the chest.
That's exactly it. And it's okay to slow it up how Southport have. Ideally, Megan hits the target there and they build possession out. But as Megan turns and doesn't see anything, it's okay to maintain possession and allow her slide to slide across to then have to make a different option.
Boundary throw in. Over the back of the head from Dufty. Bursting onto it was Tyler Crabtree. She's been very involved today. McDonald sweeping. Puts it back, finds Dufty.
Really good proactive position from normally a ruck.
Dufty managed to find Day. Check side kick. And that's 4 consecutive kick and marks from the Hornets. Oh, one got there on the bounce. Liesi. With a dry ball, I'd almost back her in here. She is a long boot, but maybe with a wet ball, this will take 2 kicks to get there. Thompson's on the lead, just caught the defence napping a bit. Vetter is circling. So Lucia Liesi will have to kick this from about 45. Gives it a good old roost. Off to the right and just very leisurely tapped through. So Aspley, for what it's worth, reduced the margin to 51. Southport's largest winning margin against Aspley is 60 points. That was the first time they played in a game they had to move out to Sulk Oval at Palm Beach because Fankhauser was pretty much underwater at the time. O'Brien finds Gregory. Gregory gives Marr something to chase. She's already got 5. Last person to kick 6 in the game was Dakota Barron. Marr over the top. Looks to be offline, although a spinning ball can achieve a lot of different things. And Southport had a 2-on-1 in the forward line. scrambled through for a behind.
Southport have shown a couple of times tonight that their transition from back half to forward half with their ball movement can be quite instantaneous. It's quite interesting to watch.
I'd like, if you can, to expand on that in a moment, because it's not just suddenly turning the jets on. It's also making sure that when you're defending, you're in a position where you can immediately turn around into attack. I get the impression that they set up quite well before they regain possession.
Definitely. So their ability to turn defence into offence or offence into defence is a strong point of Southport's. That's based around having... I'll let you...
Thank you. So, because Hung gets over the top to Pulteney. Pulteney has order on her back. Pulteney had to shoot from about 45 out. She needed an off break, got the leg break.
I'm explaining Southport's over the back play, and we end up with Aspley with one. But Southport's ability to turn offence into defence quite quickly. So I'm assuming over pre-season they would have practiced a lot of that transition movement from offence to defence, that ability to run. And what they are very good at is winning their one-on-one, which allows you to sneak a little bit offensively to allow that play to flow a touch more natural.
That's right, because if you're the second player in either contest and you trust your teammate to win the one-on-one, then you don't have to go and help. You're allowed to make the next play.
Correct. And then that challenges your defender to go, do they stick with you or get across and help?
I've learned a lot tonight, Jamie. This is good. Tyler Crabtree centres it to Zarafa. Zarafa's distribution of the ball is a world away from what it was last year. I've been really impressed with her development tonight. Hannah Davies in a lot of space. Was looking for Gregory, didn't quite get there. Pengelly got front position, spilled it. This will work in Southport's favour. The handball wasn't great. The kick's all right. Looks straight enough. And Caitlin Miller completes her hat-trick.
I hate to steal your thunder, but you're totally correct in terms of Zarafa's ability to switch the play there. Opens up the fat side of the oval to allow Southport to transition very quickly. It's quite predictable play if you know it's coming, which is from after quarter time, Southport have looked to have done that with ball in hand in terms of time, and when they've had time, they've looked to switch the play via foot. When they haven't had time, they've looked to be playing that forward handball chain style.
Thing is, when you've got a kick as long as Zarafa, and if she's using it well, and look, my thunder is your thunder. You can have as much as you like, but yeah, it doesn't matter if you know it's coming.
Yeah.
In fact, it almost makes you panic before it happens if you know it's coming. So,
correct.
Yeah.
And Southport's ability to demonstrate their slow play and their fast play tonight and their different methods has been really interesting.
It's like if Charlie Rowbottom's running at you, it doesn't matter if you know what's coming. It's still scary.
You still jump out of the way.
Indeed. Pengelly with a bump. Did well against Miller. Now is a hat-trick, although Olivia Marr is the scoring star with 5. Beautiful work from Steph O'Brien to wrap around. Gets it to a captain in Ship. Ship has a shot. It looks to be away to the left. And she misses, but she nearly delivered on the long-range goal she promised me.
With about 13 minutes to go here, Aspley really need to dig their heels in and try and set themselves up for the rest of their campaign. I know they're dealing with a few injuries and so forth, but they really need to showcase something to scare the rest of the opposition.
Well, there's tough games coming up. Southport play Bond next week, but then Aspley play them the week after. So that'll be their next big test. They play Maroochydore next week, and they will want to open their account for the season because, well, they're about to go 0-3. Boundary throw-in. Southport on the attack at right forward pocket. Still, 10-team comp, 6 teams make the finals. It does give you the licence to experiment a bit and find your combinations without being over-penalised. Good work from Miller. I don't think she was supposed to be the ruck. Regaining her feet. Messy ball came off the shins of Dufty. Gregory tried to burst through. Came out the back. Suckling. Been impressed with Suckling tonight. Pengelly with a slips catch. Then got it underneath Stallard. Went through to Milne. Handball forward. Zarafa. You can almost say she deserves a goal. Gregory deserves a goal. She doesn't have one yet. She's got a big chance now.
Unfortunately, that was just very tired play from Aspley. It was get it on the boot, give it to somebody else. Hopefully they can deal with my problem.
Understandable given the humidity, but it's not about being better than me. It's about being better than your opponent. Taylor Gregory Made the goal umpire work a bit too much. First game for the year, Taylor Gregory. Missed the first 2 rounds. Good to see you back in the comp. Well, in the side, rather. Sorry, it was a little bit. Because premiership winner now. Pittman through the middle. Goes long, looking for Thompson. Has had it knocked away from her. Alder at the back. Finds Hunt. And to understand that play, rewind to what Jamie was saying about 10 minutes ago. Zarafa. Goes for a run. She's faster than she was last year, Zarafa. Who is this woman? Gregory. O'Brien. Off the top of the boot. To a one-on-one contest. Comes off hands. It's just a case of who can get there first. Didn't need to be rushed, although that clearing kick wasn't really a clearing kick. Opportunity not over. And Ship misses. I'm sure she's devastated inside, but she's just such an even-tempered person, Rihanna Ship.
I know exactly what you mean, and yes, she very much is. But she would be frustrated with herself. I know she puts a lot of hours into that part of her game.
Comes off Hung Shin. And what was the call? Is that lasso or... No, it's a boundary throw-in. One of those 50-50s I've seen called both ways at different times. As Jamie ruefully smiles in a way that says, tell me about it, Daniel. O'Brien, one-handed pick up on the outside. Probably my best on ground tonight, O'Brien, and it's a crowded field. But the intensity with which she's running tonight and the way she's been able to link everything, I think has been outstanding. You're not obliged to give your 3-2-1s or anything like that, Jamie, but you are absolutely welcome. And I know that the players will take your opinion much more seriously than they take mine. O'Flaherty through to Liesi, plays the 1-2. Liesi looking for Thompson, but the body work from Alder was superb. Hunt drew the defender. She won't be completely happy with the handball to Boltays, but then plays the 1-2 as well. Just such a good ball user, Megan Hunt. This is her 132nd appearance in this competition. So she's top 10 for appearances. Emma Zilke's way out in front, of course. Underneath goes to Caitlin Miller. Just sock it away from McDonald. Through to Pulteney. And again, it's a bit of a kick and hope. Alder's been outstanding in defence tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing her stats. They'll be available on the AFLQ website on Monday, thanks to iSports Solution. And then beautiful vision to get it out to Gregory. Saw Zarafa over the shoulder, and so handballed over the shoulder. Looks out wide, looking for the runner. I think it's Miller. And somehow just wrestled out. Messy ball, Ship. Ship wants a goal. And she wanted it so badly that Jasmine Carver recognised it and thought, well, if I don't charge this down, she's going to get what she wants.
Going back to your point around Steph O'Brien before, Dan, she is definitely close to being best on because of the time that she dominated the game. As the game has drawn out, she's been able to take a step back. But early days, when the game was up for grabs, she was the one that reefed it away from Aspley.
Best in the goal square, opportunistic kick. I think it's Miller. It's come off something and gone through or behind. Jamie, you have just warmed my heart because for years I've been saying that things like best on ground votes should be weighted to who was important when the match was most important. And you said that unprompted. It's almost like you know more about footy than I do. I know it's crazy. But no, so good to hear you say that.
It's hard for umpires, though, when they are giving their best on ground votes to recognise that, though, when they're also trying to play their own game.
Megan Hunt making a late play for umpires' votes, or just tackles. She just loves a tackle. And took down Lucy Pengelly. Yeah, personally, I think it's too much pressure for the umpires to decide who the biggest player of the year award is, but that's a whole other topic, and I'll give you my TED Talk later. Bruard. Or if you're nice to me, I won't give you my TED Talk. That's probably the better thing. Zarafa. Not exactly full of options, so she just goes long in the general direction of the goal. Was nearly cleared. Miller used her body very well to see if she could clear some defenders. But I think Aspley have largely parked the bus. There's no one forward of halfway. Lucy Thompson and Lee Alder are the deepest pairing, and they're just in front of the centre circle. It was a snap over the shoulder, but the whistle came in before it got there. I'm hearing whistles tonight. Anyway, ball up in the goal square.
With them parking the bus, though, it does give Southport a different challenge of how to move the ball around the bus to allow them to still get clean inside 50s.
See how they go. The ruck was batted by McDonald across the face of goal, and it's worked as Liesi can clear. Hannah Davies has positioned herself well. Gregory was backing up behind her. Ship tackled by McMillan, and who just got away as the umpire blew the whistle. No way the umpire could have seen that, so nothing wrong with the decision. Gregory in the ruck. Probably still a good 6-7 minutes left in this quarter. But the 4 points look to be heading down to Fankhauser Reserve, maintaining the perfect start for the year. And it also means that Southport have kicked 60 goals in their first 3 games, which is not quite unheard of. Some of the Cooperoo sides, before even Jamie played in this competition, were pretty high scoring, but it's been a while. Called a throw, and Southport with a scoring opportunity through Caitlin Miller. I think it's Jessie McMillan who's just hobbling off the field, so hopefully she's okay. As I said, a long layoff towards the end of last season. There's a smile on her face, that's a good sign. Caitlin Miller. 2 goals in the second quarter. 1 in this quarter. And through her ability to defend in the front 50, which is a must for forwards now, she is able to get her 4th for the evening.
And that was just repeated efforts by Southport there to just win contest after contest after contest, keep showing up, which is tough to do in any standpoint, but especially when you are winning by so much, sometimes that's not necessarily a requirement anymore.
I suppose, they found one of the 2 ways that you can score in that situation when you were talking about when a team attacks. The way they just did it was to force them into an error to give away the free kick and then you get the set shot. The other way, which is probably the one which would give you more satisfaction, is if you can actually get the possessions to weave through the defence and then you can score the amazing goals. Maybe that will come. Bruard. Pengelly got front position against Ship, got the punch, was able to have teammates cleaning up behind her and cause the stoppage. So Aspley will play Maroochydore next week. And then we do have a grand final rematch. The next edition of the Shark Stoush. Good tackle. Strong tackle from a long way back. Jess Stallard finding a way to get into the game. This will be the second match in a row against Southport where she hasn't scored. Before that, she kicked 10 goals in 3 games, including 5 in a prelim. I think if you go to her house in the lobby, that match is just on replay. Finds Pittman. Good vision from Pittman. The effort on the mark was good from Suckling, but I don't think she realised just how wide Pittman was prepared to go. Not quite enough on the kick, just yorked Stallard. Kick came up from O'Flaherty into the pocket. Katie Day got way too much space, chips over the top, lands towards... Katie Day scored that. That touched no one on the way through. And on a frustrating night for Aspley, that is a moment of magic.
Fantastic finish, but you would prefer the lead-up play that they did. The kick mark, the intent to look for free options, the movement patterns that the Aspley players provided, whether it was the ones that they took, there were also other ones available on either side laterally. So that's the play that Aspley should hold their head on and try and replicate as they move into the next couple of weeks of football.
I suppose the other thing to say, it's probably the first time, probably since the first quarter, when the Southport defence just looked a bit tired and didn't get back in position. I think you can forgive them sort of with about 3 or 4 minutes to go in the... Well, I can forgive them. Skinny might be a little bit more harsh on them. I know what coaches are like.
I think scoreboard plays a lot into that, though, too.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with Southport's percentage at the moment, that can be said. I think it's still very much 4 digits. Plupel's working hard on the far side.
Only 4 digits. That's a bit low.
That's before the decimal point. Then you have the decimal point and 2 more. So.
No, I'm well aware. Southport would expect more, I'm sure.
Because after they won their first match of the year, 219 zip, the coding on the table on the official website.
Hashtag.
That was it. And it put them in 5th instead of 1st because it couldn't cope with the numbers. So until Southport conceded a point, they didn't get top position in the table. They've regained possession twice quite strongly while I was discussing mathematics. But no, they won a premiership last year, Southport. And I think their aim for this year is, if you get what I mean, to win a better one. Or to win it in a better way, however you want to term it. As in, they want to make a team that people are going to be scared of 10 years from now and go, hey, you remember that Southport side of 2025? That was really something. Big tackle from Milne, who's done very well in both ends of the ground tonight at different times. Strong tackling from Aspley. He's come too late to affect the result, but why not finish strongly? So Liesi held it up to give the forwards time to get forward, and then 2 of them getting each other's way. Stallard and narrow angle, comes off hands, and only Sharks are around the ball in the goal square until it was pilfered by Vetter. Vetter turns around. Vetter has a goal in her 100th QAFLW game. Lovely bit of poetry on tonight.
Very much so. Bit of reward for effort too. Aspley have toiled away and have changed a little bit of their game style and really tried to match it with Southport at the contest, so it doesn't hurt to get a bit of reward for effort in the end.
I'll ask about the coaching mindsets in a moment, but I'll just praise Rachel Vetter a little bit more. So as I say, her 100th QAFLW game across her careers for UQ and Aspley. That's her 94th goal. Megan Hunt 3 weeks ago became the 9th player to score 100 goals in this competition. I think Vetter is 10th on the list, and she's now 94. So maybe a bit of history for her. And I think what we're seeing now that there was a time, which of course you played through, Jamie, when AFLW players also played in this comp extensively, but we're now seeing a lot of sort of good, solid club players who are getting the milestones. And so I don't see them as any less important as you guys, and I hope that came out the way I mean it. So, as in, footy in Queensland needs all of you. Women's footy is growing. It's getting brilliant. And it's getting brilliant because of the top players and because of the good, honest club players. Anything else I can mansplain about women's footy to you? So.
Hey, it just looks more like men's footy, so soon it's just going to be footy, right?
Speaking of which, Zarafa misses to the left. That's the ultimate aim, isn't it? We just talk about footy.
Yeah, whatever footy looks like. Well, if you want to add a W at the end of it or whatever, sure, go for it. But as long as footy looks like footy, and it really doesn't matter in the end.
Look, it's not up to me to tell the narrative of women's footy, but as long as you let me hang around, I'll hang around for as long as you'll have me, because I'm loving it. Pengelly out. Dying stage of this round 3 clash. Bit of tumble in front of the social club. Zarafa determined to score from a long way out. That's a wonderful mark. And when Zarafa kicks the ball, you can see the players stream towards the goal square. And Olivia Marr, Dakota Barron, as I said, was the last kick 6 in a game, I think, in this competition for anyone. She did that round 1 last year. Even when they put 30-plus goals on Yeronga, no individual kicked 6 goals. So Olivia Marr, against the number 3 side from last year, has kicked 6 goals in a match. That is an almighty achievement.
And you love it. She celebrated it too, as she should have. That's not easy to do. There's still an Aspley player down on the far side, though.
Oh, I missed that. Thank you. Emma McDonald, perhaps. Tall player with the white ribbon in the hair. It is McDonald. She's up on her own feet. Oh, hobbling. This is the disadvantage of not knowing exactly when the play's going to stop, but there can't be long left. Just charge down with the armpit. was something Ella Mora from your side, Gold Coast Suns, did a lot last season. The number of times she would put the arm up and she could cop the ball in the armpit. It just seemed to happen over and over from my perspective. So.
I can't wait to tell her that.
Do. Through the middle, O'Flaherty, just seemed to lose that in the lights, I think, because she was ready to mark it and then put the hands up in front of the face almost protectively. And in the end, it's a turnover to Southport. I mean, their spectacular black outfits have ruled the night. And yes, that was accidental, but definitely a free kick. And so, no, it has been called full-time. I wasn't sure if they'd allow the shot. Southport, 12-17, 89, have defeated Aspley, 4-3-27. Plenty of goal scorers, 2 for Katie Day for Aspley and 1 each to Lucy Thompson and Rachel Vetter. For Southport, it was 6 to Olivia Marr, 4 to Caitlin Miller, and then 2 to Baldwin. So just the 3 goal scorers, but they certainly got their act on. Jamie Stanton, as Emma McDonald is hobbling off. Jamie, some final thoughts on the game. If you want to throw in a best player or 2, go for your life.
I think Southport have flexed their muscles a little bit and showcased how competitive they can be. And I think Aspley need to throw some darts at the drawing board a little bit and figure out what their game style is going to be. You can see it in spits and spats of what they're after, but they can't do it for long enough at the moment, which is a little bit concerning.
Any best players on ground? Anyone you want to highlight and say? I mean, obviously Olivia Marr with 6 goals. You could say that she's already got her reward. But I mean, I pointed out Steph O'Brien during the game. I thought Tiani Brown in defence was just an absolute mop and was able to put it forward. For Aspley, likewise, they had to do a lot of defending, but Lucy Pengelly did it. Any others you'd like to add to the list?
No, I think you've done a pretty good job there of summating very quickly some of the really important players, especially early on, as we were speaking about before, when the game was up for grabs.
Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure for me to have you in the Combox tonight, but I'm sure it's been an absolute thrill for all of the QAFLW fans who listen in and have admired what you've achieved, both in the QAFLW and since. You're welcome back anytime. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
And next week, our feature game is the Shark Stoush down on the Gold Coast. That will be at 4:45, same time as tonight's game. So Bond University versus Southport here on the official AFLQ channel. My name's Daniel Viles, and on behalf of Jamie Stanton, thanks for your company. But from Automobile Aspley Oval, it's good night.